Okay, let's get into this. Today, we are opening a window, I mean that both literally and profoundly, into a collection of contemporary Arabic prose. The source material you shared with me centers on the cover and some really critical excerpts from Amal Fatayer's book, which is titled Nafizat al-Huruf. That translates to The Window of Letters.
Yeah, and this is a deep dive into pure emotional architecture.
Yeah.
It's really something.
So our mission here is to move beyond just the simple book summary, right? We
Right.
want to extract the core thematic intent.
Exactly. We want to see how the author uses the very act of writing to, I guess, manage the weight of memory, this profound longing, and the idea of a homeland when that homeland feels distant or even lost.
We're looking for those aha moments, the ones that reveal how literature can become a sort of practical tool for survival.
Mm. And when you look at the language surrounding this collection, you feel the emotional intensity immediately. It's not subtle.
No, not at all. The book is explicitly categorized as nususo, prose, or texts, and it's just immediately steeped in themes of deep sorrow and aching longing.
And that's where we get that Arabic term, hainin.
Right. It's a feeling that's so much heavier than just nostalgia. It implies this visceral ache for something that's just unattainable.
That emotional framing is absolutely crucial. The text itself refers to this raw pain as ulwaj. So you know right away this isn't going to be a passive reflection.
It's an active encounter.
An active encounter with profound distilled feeling. The expectation is that you, the reader, are going to wrestle with these heavy emotions right alongside the author.
So let's start with the author's identity, because it seems to inform everything that follows. Amal Fatayer is introduced really beautifully as the daughter of the Sea of Fatayer.
Mm-hmm. And the dedication is unequivocal.
So direct. It dedicates every single letter in the collection to the memory of Damascus.
And it's not just a passing dedication. Damascus is described, really poetically, as sinking into the evening and silence.
Sinking.
Yeah. So this text is commemorating a specific place at a specific moment in time, a place that feels like it's actively slipping away, being, consumed by darkness and quiet. The sense of urgency is just palpable.
And here's where the function of the writing itself becomes incredibly complex. The texts are called the sound of the homeland, Sot al-Watan.
Mm-hmm.
But what really struck me is that the writing moves beyond simple memory retrieval. How exactly does the text support this idea that it's an active creation, not just passive documentation?
That is the central analytical distinction the sources give us. It's key. The author isn't merely documenting. They're not tactile, only writing.
Okay.
Instead, they're performing an intentional, almost structural act. They weave the homeland onto the paper, then dan ala warak.
Weaving. That implies structure, labor, intent. It's such a gorgeous metaphor.
It is.
It suggests the goal isn't just to record what was, but to stitch together a version of the homeland that is strong enough to resist the forces of absence and silence.
Right. It's an act of cultural and emotional preservation.
Yeah.
But in this abstract literary form.
If we connect this to the broader concept of loss, weaving is. It's a defiant act. It suggests that even if the physical reality is fragmented or destroyed, the writer can create a whole durable structure of memory using language as the thread.
And that ensures the memory doesn't just fade away, it becomes a permanent fabric you can return to.
But isn't that a dangerous form of preservation? I mean, if weaving the homeland back together in the abstract means you stop engaging with the harsh reality of what is currently happening, there's a risk that this turns into escapism rather than preservation?
That's a crucial challenge, a really important one. And the book seems to preempt that critique through its title and central metaphor, the window.
Okay.
The author has to first open the window and look out. The book is presented as a faint, silent window, a nafida kafita samita, that is confronting the face of the pain, the wash al wash.
So this doesn't allow for pure escapism.
Not at all. It forces a gaze right upon the sadness.
That dual image of the window, faint and silent, yet focused on confronting pain, that's the key to understanding this text, isn't it? A window lets you see the pain, but it also separates you from it.
Exactly. And the tension is resolved by what the window lets in. While confronting the raw pain, the texts simultaneously carry the scent of dreams, hope, and light.
A scent.
Yes. The source notes refer to this balancing act as existing Al-Hafat al-Hilm was al-Hajj on the edge of the dream and the glow. It's the ultimate paradox. You open the window to see the darkness, but the scent of possibility drifts in too.
So the sadness is acknowledged, but it's not absolute. The commentary on the text points out that there is explicitly a breathing space of hope, a mute enough hub tucked within the very lines of the writing.
And that phrase breathing space suggests the writing is functional. It's not about wallowing, it's about endurance.
It carves out a necessary space.
An intentional space to sustain life and hope, even if that space is only found within the confines of the paper.
This tension between beauty and loss, hope and despair, it's perfectly captured in one highly poetic phrase we extracted.
Yes, let's dedicate some time to this because it's really the core paradox of the whole work.
The phrase speaks of, and I'm quoting here, a sentence of thread from the silk of the soul, but a faint washing to enhance the absence. If you break that down, the thread from the silk of the soul, Harry, a root symbolizes the beauty of the spirit, maybe potential freedom, purity. It's beautiful and precious stuff.
But then you get the twist. This memory, this beautiful thread, is subjected to a faint washing. A washing usually cleanses or restores.
Right.
Here, however, this faint washing does the exact opposite. It works to enhance the absence. It just sharpens the edge of the loss.
So what does that washing symbolize? Is it the act of articulation itself? By trying to purify the memory, by writing it down in this beautiful language, the author isn't bringing the reality back?
She's scrubbing away any remaining illusion.
Yes. The illusion that it still exists in the present. She's clarifying the gap.
That's precisely the depth of insight the sources promise. The beautiful silk of the soul is recalled, but the very act of recalling its perfection only makes the present void more glaring.
If you remember something perfectly,
you understand the magnitude of what is missing now. The memory of beauty becomes a lens through which the present ugliness or absence is magnified.
That raises a heavy, necessary question. Why endure the pain of writing at all if the memory only enhances the absence? If the act of preservation hurts this much, why is there an imperative to remember?
The book provides a clear, almost militant answer to that why. It states the driving intention as an absolute necessity. We write to remember. We write so that we do not forget.
نكتب لتتذكر، نكتب كي لا ننسى.
Exactly. It is a conscious defense mechanism against obliteration, whether that obliteration comes from the outside world or just the natural slippage of time.
So the goal is survival, not comfort. The writing process itself might be painful, but the alternative, forgetting, is so much worse.
Forgetting is the ultimate defeat, and the writing is fearless in executing this duty. The window of letters is explicitly described as being not afraid of the depth of pain.
لتقف من كواج.
It faces the trauma head-on.
It's defensive, but not timid, as you said. The faint, silent window allows for words that are actually loud and unadorned. This commitment to brutal honesty really defines the text's character.
And that honesty manifests in its confrontation with solitude al-wada. The words used are bare words, stripped of flattery, kalimat ariya min al-mujamala.
No softening.
None. No romanticizing the experience of being alone or being far from home. It's positioned as a profoundly honest account of the author's internal emotional landscape.
It's the opposite of spin. If the world is trying to impose silence and forgetting, the author just responds with words that are nakedly truthful, unconcerned with how they sound or what others might expect.
Right. And that commitment to pure emotional truth is what made such a striking impression on those who received the work. Which brings us to the final section. How this intensely personal writing landed with the outside world.
Yes. What does the editor, Nabil Al-Arabi, tell us about the book's effect?
Well, the editor's perspective really frames the book's impact as an experience, not just a product. He recognizes that the work is lisat kitaban fakat. It's not merely a book.
So what is it then?
He elevates it by calling it something ephemeral. A shadow passing by, dil aber.
A shadow passing by. That's a beautiful way to describe its transient nature.
It is. It implies the book is less of a solid, permanent object and more of a deeply moving, fleeting, emotional state that you occupy while you're reading, and which then leaves its mark once you close the cover.
And if it is a transient shadow, it leaves a very specific kind of mark. The editor describes the book as a pure cry, a sarak safi.
A pure cry.
Yes, one that returns us to the arms of the homeland, hudana watan. It's a journey into memory relat الذاكرة that is powered by raw anguish.
The implication there is that the book functions almost like a ritual. It allows the reader to momentarily bridge the geographical and emotional distance to their homeland through the intensity of the author's feeling. It's a collective mourning.
And a shared act of remembrance. What's fascinating in the editor's final takeaway is this specific, powerful observation about the author's source of knowledge, something that really grounds the emotion in lived experience.
Yes, this is a key nugget of insight. The editor states that the book captures the harshness of waiting, qaswat al-intidhar.
The harshness of waiting.
And he adds a specificity. This is a harshness that only a woman knows regarding the thread of love and affection. Amara tarif imra ala water al kurba al hub.
Wow. That statement gives the author's voice tremendous authority. How should we interpret that connection between the harshness of waiting and the specific knowledge of a woman?
Well, it implies that the profound understanding of prolonged absence and the labor required to maintain that delicate thread of connection, whether it's to family, a partner, or homeland, is rooted in a distinct kind of patient endurance.
Okay, I see.
It shifts the knowledge from the realm of, say, intellectual suffering to the realm of patient, enduring emotional labor that so often falls upon women in times of conflict or displacement.
So this isn't just generic sadness. It's a highly specific, deeply intimate account of resilience and connection. It gives her narrative of Anine a depth and a texture that is universally resonant but specifically sourced.
It validates her unique perspective on the nature of love and enduring separation. And it connects back perfectly to that earlier metaphor of weaving.
Ah, of course.
Weaving is meticulous, enduring labor. It requires patience and attention to detail. The editor is basically saying that the author's lived experience of waiting is what provided the knowledge to weave the homeland back onto the paper so expertly.
So what does this all mean? We've navigated the intense emotional terrain of the Window of Letters. We've identified it as a collection defined by radical honesty, a direct dedication to Damascus, and its core function as an actor-weaver of memory against obliteration. It achieves this incredible balance between the painful act of recognition and the small, necessary space carved out for hope.
I'd say Nafizhat al-Haruf is the synthesis of extreme longing and radical honesty. In the absence of certainty, in the face of a sinking city and fading freedom, the only sure thing is the structure of those bare words woven onto the paper as an enduring act of defiance against the silence.
It is an argument for why art matters.
It is an argument for why art matters in the face of absolute loss, yes.
That is a perfect synthesis. But let's leave you with one final thought, building on that idea of enduring emotional labor. Since the book is so focused on capturing the harshness of waiting, waiting for memory to stabilize, waiting for return, or simply waiting for the pain to pass, what does this relentless focus on waiting tell us about the true nature of hope? If hope isn't a flash of light, but rather the quiet, harsh endurance of waiting, how do we redefine freedom when the beautiful silk of liberty often doesn't shine in memory, but instead is used to clarify the depth of our absence? That is something for you to mull over long after this deep dive is complete.